I'm Lucinda Gruber. I was born October 8, 1919, in the home of my parents. And when I was born that morning, I looked up at my dad and I said, "Happy birthday, Dad." And that was my dad's birthday, too, that same day. So we've always celebrated and we've always got along good. I was always the girl that would go out and help him do chores and in the field. And then we went to a little country school in Denver. It was very small. We walked about 1.5 miles to school. And we lived on a little farm. And so we made a living. That's what my folks lived on. And then I had a nice life until then I met Lloyd Gruber, and I was working for his sister, Dorothea, and then she had 2 little kids, and I was helping take care of them. And then the little ones used to think, "Oh, you gotta go with Unky." That was their uncle, and they thought that I had to go out with him. And so that was the beginning of my married life. I got married when I was 19, and a year later we had a girl, Audrey. Then the powder plant came in about 3 years after we were married. And at that time, that powder plant was where the Army ammunition was built, just below the Beaver Bluffs, and we were almost taken away because they would come and buy land for people that were living there for $1 and said, "You go out and find yourself another farm." But we were very thankful they didn't come and take our farm. And I had a lot of people came to work there, and had a lot of people come and stay. At one time, I had 10 roomers and boarders. I don't know where I slept them all and how I fed them all. And my sister would come, Lavera, would come and help us at times, and because we had a lot of meals and bedding and washing and all that kind of things. But we made it. We made it through the powder plant days. I was, of course, born on my dad's birthday, so I was always outside with my dad, helping him with the chores. And we used to have only about 15 cows, and so that wasn't very much, but it was enough at that time to keep a family going. And then we'd do all the hay and by hand, and didn't have lights, and we didn't have water in the house, and it was just plain. Every winter the windows would all freeze up in the kitchen, and the water pail would be frozen in the morning, and my dad would get up in the night just to fire the stove and the heater in the living room to keep so it would be warm, and in the morning then get ready for school. And it was cold in the house, and the car wouldn't start sometimes when it was so cold. My dad would hitch up one horse and pull the car until he got the car started, and then took me to Denver to school, or us. There was the 4 of us girls. Only 3 at a time would go. Dorothy was younger, and Verona was the oldest. But we went to school, and it was cold, and when it snowed, we could always go to the back bedroom, we called it, because there was a curve in the road back there, and when the wind would blow and it would snow, we'd stand back there and watch a car go by. Sure enough, they got stuck. So my dad might just as well go and hitch up the team, because he was going to have to go over there and pull them out of that snowdrift. And but otherwise we had a yard that could really go sleigh riding in. It was down through between the corn crib, and we had a ball snow sleigh riding, not snowmobiling. We didn't even know what those things were at that time. And the mailman always had to come in the wintertime. He came with a horse and buggy, and he'd always stop and talk to us. He was always kidding me. I must have been the little one that went out or something, but he was a friendly guy, and he liked to see my mother's flowers and stuff, but in the summertime he would have a car, but in the wintertime he always came with horse and buggy. When we always had house parties, the whole families would get together and have a party. Like we had a birthday party, and quite often, being it was my dad's birthday and my birthday, we'd have house parties, and then there was a couple, man and wife that came, and they would play the violin and the accordion, and that would be the dance. We had a big kitchen. We moved the table and everything out of there, and we'd dance in there. And my dad and I always had to have the first dance together. Parties, they always had in the tavern, they had a little band come and play, and we always went into Denzer, and I remember this little midget that would often come there, and he loved to square dance, but he didn't know how to do any other dance. But I was his size when I was about 10, 12, and he'd always come and get me to square dance with him. And we just had, everybody laughed because he was always my partner, and we'd have a big time. He just loved to square dance, but he couldn't dance any other dance. As I grew older, I went to Fish Lake and danced, and they had a big hall there, and a lot of people, and we had a few fights like the young kids are used to do, but as a rule they all behaved pretty well, and I learned to dance there too, and we had a nice band was always there, and I remember when Verona and Bruno would come out from Milwaukee, they'd always take a Sunday night that there was a dance at Fish Lake, and they would stay overnight on Sunday night so they could go to that dance with me too, because they enjoyed dancing, and I'd always be telling what a good time we had, so they stayed to go to Fish Lake to the dance. Oh, we did all kinds. I know at one time the Charleston was the one, and otherwise nowadays they just jump around, but we used to do the Charleston. And the waltz or two-step or whatever they wanted to dance, that was all right. Just follow along. You always got by. And they had big crowds there. I met a lot of people there at those dances. And then it got to be, well, I was even going there when I first met Lloyd. And when I went to work for Dorothea to help her take care of Dolores and Arvin. And Dorothea had always had back trouble and had pain someplace. And so she couldn't take care of the kids very good, so I went and stayed at her place. And those two little kids thought I ought to go out with their unkie. That was Lloyd was their uncle, and they always called him Unkie. And so that's how I met Lloyd. Then we were quarantined with scarlet fever. That was when I was working with them, for them. Herb got scarlet fever. And Lloyd used to come if he could be out on the porch, and if he saw the doctor drive in, well, he would run out the back, up behind the building, so the doctor didn't know he was talking to me in the house. And that was rough, that time when we were quarantined. And Beulah Ott came and helped me take care of Herb, but none of the rest of the family or anybody got scarlet fever, but Lloyd got scarlet fever, but because I think he caught it, must have. And anyway, but his mother took care of him. She put him to bed and doctored him, and never had a doctor or anything, so the doctor never knew that Lloyd got scarlet fever out of that. Time that we went out after I wasn't in quarantine anymore, we went down to, well, we called it the coach. Yeah, the coach. That's where we were, and everybody, was there, and they knew us and had quite a time. And did I feel terrible the next day? Too much medicine, I guess.